Welcome to Buckets, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. My name is Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network, joined by Brandon Anderson. He's NBA futures analyst at the Action Network. Follow him on Twitter at Wheaton Brando and in the Action Network app under the same. The Action Network app, of course, is the best place for you to track your picks. You get up-to-second information where the bets, money are coming in on. You can track all sorts of cool stuff in there, including WNBA. You got our daily show, Green Dot Daily. You've got all our great podcasts. And you've got all of our great conference finals coverage, which should continue for about 3 more days at most. I'm jinxing the hell out of it, but hard to argue. As Brandon, we sit here on Sunday night after the Boston Celtics have been absolutely eviscerated, destroyed, humiliated, embarrassed, devastated by the Miami Heat. I was not going to bet this game. I was not going to bet it at all. I was like, you know what? I'm out. Like, I don't know. Like, everyone thinks that Boston's the right side. And then I got like late to it and I was just like, I think Boston quits. Like it was like an hour before the game. And I was like, I just think Boston quits. So I dropped 2 units on it and came out in a great position on that.
Nice.
Game on the money line, not the victory lap here, just like they're done. Like they're done. It's over. We will give best bets for game 4 between the Denver Nuggets and the Los Angeles Lakers after the Denver Nuggets took a commanding, that's the word they always use, commanding 3-0 series lead over the Los Angeles Lakers in what was, I kid you not, the biggest win in Nuggets franchise history. There has not been a bigger win. That's it. That they beat the Lakers to literally move to the closest they have ever been to an NBA Finals. They have never won more than 2 games in the conference finals. I triple checked it. This is as close as they've ever been.
It doesn't take a long time to check that one either.
True. Not.
Hey, I'm a Timberwolves fan, so no slander here.
Yeah,
just saying, not a lot of history.
Not a lot of conference finals there, and I said this over, I'm also co-host over at Locked On Nuggets, and this is one of the things I said. I was like, sometimes you're up against history, and sometimes you're the one that makes the history. And right now, the Denver Nuggets are making their own history. We'll give you best bets for game 4 of Lakers Nuggets. We will also talk a little bit about some finals conversation about the implications thereof. We will tackle the big question of, if I told Brandon he's got a bet right now on Lakers or Celtics, which one is he taking and why? We'll give you a reason why you're going to want to hold off on some of the future stuff that you're going to see, as well as I will give you my insight on a little bit of futures plays if you're just itching to get in right now, given where we're at. But Brandon, we start with Lakers versus Nuggets game 4. The Nuggets come back. They were down 1 late in the 4th. They'd held the lead for the entire game. Rui Hachimura puts them up. Jeff Green hits a 3. Rui Hachimura puts them up. Bruce Brown hits a 3. And then I will tell you, I saw a site that I often see, Brandon, which is LeBron James. His body language took on that same thing that I've seen him have quite a few times, which is the problem with being a basketball supermind is you're also able to recognize when you're in checkmate. And that's what LeBron James showed. So I'll ask you, what is your best bets for this? The Los Angeles Lakers versus Denver Nuggets game 4 within the market currently. I will just go ahead and run those numbers down. The Lakers are still a 3-point favorite, down from -4, total 224.5, up from 221.5. What's your best bets for Nuggets versus Lakers game 4?
Yeah, we're going to get creative on these because I want no part of a side or total here. We'll get into why I feel that way. Game 4, when you're on 3-0, look, I'm just going to say tread carefully. We don't really know who shows up, where are we at mentally? Do we get blowouts? So I have 2 prop plays here that I'm looking at plus juice on because if I'm going to play something that could go my way and make it worth the payout. So, and I've got escalators on these too. You're going to have fun with it. You may as well really have fun with it. So first one's a Denver Nuggets rebounding prop. Give me Michael Porter Jr. over 6.5 rebounds, Aaron Gordon under 5.5. Those are together at plus 190. That one has hit all 3 games so far. And then give me a Lakers passing same game parlay. LeBron at least 10 assists, D'Angelo Russell under 4.5 assists. That one is at plus 285. So I'll explain why on each of those. No sides, no totals, no team. You got a team and a side. You got 2 of them, actually. Let's hear
it. Denver Nuggets to win by 11 plus points at FanDuel is plus 550. Los Angeles Lakers win by 11 plus points is plus 290. Our combined on that, if we break it down into what that actually equates to, it's plus 150. So we got a 25 and a 15 for a plus 150 there. We still get plus 150. That's good enough for me, Brandon. I will go ahead and I will take 11 plus in a series in which, by the way, the greatest margin of error, margin of victory is the Nuggets in game 3 with an 11-point win. The other two games were within 6 points. So I'm going against that. Do you want to start with yours or do you want to start with
No,
mine?
let's do yours. So, well, let me start by saying why I'm not playing a side or total, and you can explain why you are. I'm not, because I have no idea what the Lakers want here.
Yeah.
I have no idea what LeBron wants. That's it. I don't know what LeBron wants. And let's just be honest, like you said, he is a grandmaster chess player in his head, and I think he knows he's beat. And that is not even really a flaw. That's all part of the super system happening in his head. And this dude is 38 years old with the LeBron James of foot injuries that he's nursing through, clearly holding him back a little bit. You're not coming back from 0-3. The writing's on the wall. The Nuggets are playing great basketball. Do you really want to like go all out in this game just so you can fly to Denver and play another game in the elevation? Is it elevation or altitude, by the way? Which word am I supposed to be using?
Altitude.
All right. Do you really want to fly, go play another game in the altitude just so you can get blown out on the road and end that way instead of just, you're not even getting extra ticket gate in for, you're not making more money there at the Staples Crypto whatever center. Just, I don't know why LeBron wants to care. And if he doesn't care, I don't know why the rest of the Lakers should care. If they do care, I think on paper, I think Lakers being favored by 3, honestly, I think is about right. They at home in LA, I think that's probably about the right line. But I don't want to side because I have no idea what LeBron wants. I couldn't blame you for watching body language for a quarter and then kind of playing a live angle from there. But even then, it feels more like Joe Dallaire and I talked about playing LeBron first quarter props. I don't mind that idea. I've never played a first quarter prop in my life, but just kind of on the premise of, what if you just come out firing and let's see if the shots fall and how do we look early? Like we've seen the Lakers punt in not this spot, but in similar spots of like, come out in the first quarter, see if the shots fall. Nah, all right. Like I could just kind of see that, but for the season, I'm not going to play it because I don't know. So I try to come up with the props that I think are sort of game script proof otherwise. You are playing it, but in a way that I think also sort of fits into my mentality of like either the Lakers show up or the Lakers didn't show up. Is that basically the cap that you're on here?
Yeah, so I think a lot of this is if the Lakers come out and they hit him with such an immense show of force, whether that's in the first half or in the third quarter, what's Denver's like level of,
Yeah,
let's really crawl back here? Like if the shots aren't falling for Denver, if all those threes at KCP and Jeff Green even and Bruce Brown, if those aren't hitting and they're in a mud fight and they're going to be at a free throw disadvantage, they've been in a free throw disadvantage every game of the series. Lakers fans will say like, yeah, they're shooting all these threes. Some of it, sure, they do get a favorable whistle. It's just the Lakers. It's how they roll. If they're getting a favorable whistle and the Lakers shots are falling, if the Lakers come out and they make a huge adjustment where they bench D'Angelo Russell, as we'll talk about with your situation, with your prop, if they bench D'Angelo Russell and they start Austin Reeves, Dennis Schroeder, Rui Hachimura, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. That's been the minutes with Rui and Davis and Reeves have been absolutely liquid fire in this series because Rui and Reeves are both shooting 60% combined. Like literally, they're shooting 60%. To put this into kind of perspective, and that gets me to the other side of this in a minute. If Reeves and Rui were not shooting 60% in this series, then we're not even like we're just talking about like we're not talking about like the Nuggets are better. We're talking about like wow, the Nuggets are better. Like how did the Warriors lose to this team would be the mantra. If the Lakers hit them with a strong third quarter punch, Denver knew how important game 3 was. They knew what it meant. They knew what they could do. And they had a lead. Like Murray went off in the first half when the Nuggets honestly had pretty bad process and Jokic struggled and gave them 30. And like this was part of it is like, if you watch the Lakers, there was like this realization that when Joker got his fourth and had to go and sat down and they couldn't make any traction, you started to see the Lakers be like, we can't do anything. Like we can't do like, and look, this is the problem when you have veteran smart teams is like, when the other team's better, like, when you can't do it. The Celtics did that tonight. The Celtics knew by like the second quarter. That's why they're barking with officials. Like Marcus Smart picks up a T when the Heat are on a run. Like you start to lose you can either lose your cool or you can get dispirited. And the Lakers got dispirited. If the Nuggets come out and they punch them, if Jokic comes out and drops 15 and a quarter, if Murray comes out and drops 15 and a quarter, if MPJ comes out and drops 15 and a quarter, if the Nuggets collectively come out and they put up 40 in that first quarter, or even just 35, the Lakers are likely to pack it up and just be like, we're going to have to win this game and the next one and the next one and the next one. And so, like, I think the blowout factor here is significant. I've seen too many times. Is it possible that this is the exact same game script as the first three, which is like razor thin within margin? Lakers have chances. Like Lakers had chances in all three of these games. If you say they could have been 3-0, no, the Nuggets did not allow them to do so. Like if you say like, well, the Lakers missed shots. Yeah, go look at the half court offense for the Los Angeles Lakers. That's who they are. The reason that I like Denver -1.5 in this series is largely because I knew the Lakers don't have the offense. So it's either that offense shows up in an outlier performance in this game and the Nuggets pack it up and say, we'll get them back in Denver where they are undefeated in the postseason, or the Lakers get hit with an early punch and realize like it is futile for us to continue. Yeah. Either way, I like 11 plus at +150.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with all that. It will make a lot of sense for Denver too. It makes sense for them if the Lakers deal that punch early in the game or early in the third quarter. Denver can kind of be like, all right, you know what? It's fine. We got 3 more chances at this. We got a home game in game 5. The worst outcome for Denver, the only bad outcome for Denver, other than like a major injury or something, is a close loss where they played all the way and now are tired. And now the game 5 thing is like, well, we'll see here. Like, pressure. That's the one thing they can't allow to happen. So if the Lakers deal that punch, then I think Denver has a good chance to kind of pack it in. The only thing I don't like about your bet, honestly, is I think that you should be more aggressive. Like, I think you should find a 15-point line or 20-point line. I think if you're right, and I like it, I just think the 11 to 15 range or whatever, like I think shop around for some alternates and really go for it. If you think this gets away from either side, I think it gets really away. And the 11, 12, 15 range is less important then.
By the way, one of the things I like about this is that either way, I'm adhering to the Matt Mitchell rule. So I'm in good shape regardless of outcome. Let me ask you that. If I'm doing a unit distribution on that, what do you think I should do here? Should I do 1 unit on the 150 and then like break it into like, I don't know, 0.25 on the escalators? What should I do here?
See, I think that I would just, I don't know. I would have to see the numbers on like the 15 or 20. I don't think that I would go too crazy on it. I feel like I would just pick the number I want. If you want the 11, stick with the 11, just split your unit and do that. I don't know how to really do an escalator. I think I would either just find the line that I like. If it's 15, if it's 20, whatever, and then just split that way. I don't know. I want to go too crazy because this just is too unpredictable to want to like put multiple units on it. So I don't think this is an escalator spot. I think the escalator, you're already doing the escalator. You're skipping the just either team hits the money line or cover. You're going right to the escalator. I think you just need to pick how far you want to take it.
Okay, let's get your props here. So let's start with the Nuggets ones. This is rebounds, yes?
Yeah, rebounds. So we didn't talk about it, but we have talked about it a few times. The Nuggets finally did the thing that we've been waiting for them to do since the first quarter of game 1.
I did not think they would do this.
You did not. You did not. We were on this. I didn't either, but you're the guy that knows the Nuggets, and we did not think it was going to happen. And gosh, I think that to me, the story of the series is what?
You gotta say what the thing is that we're talking about.
Yeah. I'm getting there. Okay. It's the Hachimura came in on Jokic in the first quarter of game 1. The counter adjustment to that was, what do we do? Is got to take Aaron Gordon off the court and adjust accordingly. And to me, the story of the series is in game 1, the Lakers didn't play that well, hung around, had a chance to steal the game, and they went to their big adjustment. And you've talked about, you don't want to make the first adjustment. The Lakers wanted game one badly, and they went for it, and they brought their adjustment out. They put Hachimura on Jokic. That was less the adjustment as much as getting Davis off, letting him roam. That put Davis on to Gordon, mostly in the dunker spot, not really spacing. And that really mucked up Jokic for the rest of game one, a lot of game two compared to his usual standard. And it released Davis defensively. But it did not win the game. The Lakers did not win the game, or any of the games, as it turns out. Game three, we kind of got the reverse. So the Nuggets won game two. We get to game three. We're waiting on the Aaron Gordon thing. And finally, it happens in the fourth quarter. The Nuggets, I didn't feel like we're playing that well, but they're hanging around. Jamal Murray scores 30 in the first half. Did Gordon play any minutes in the fourth quarter, or was he out the whole quarter?
He played. I have the box score right here. He played in the fourth quarter.
I know he played 32 minutes, so I wonder if he played a couple to start out.
He played no minutes in the fourth quarter.
Okay, so no minutes. But I think the key thing, so we wondered, okay, take Gordon out because you can't stash Anthony Davis on Gordon at the dunker spot. Now he has to guard either Michael Porter Jr., who's going to be out on the arc shooting threes, or Jeff Green, who is shooting threes. And what happened was our Jeff Green over-under on plus minus did not come through on this one because Uncle Jeffy hit the lineup without Aaron Gordon. And then we got that 13-0 run in the fourth quarter. That to me is the championship run. Like I remember as a kid growing up in the 90s, watching all those hated Yankee teams. I hated the Yankee teams. And the worst thing is that it'd be like 4-3, close game, bottom of the eighth, and you're waiting for your team to come back up, and your team is just whoever's playing the Yankees. It doesn't matter. And the Yankees would always tack on those two insurance runs in like the bottom of the eighth inning. That Nuggets 13-0 run in the fourth quarter, that was the championship insurance runs. That was, we got you here, and bam, we took Gordon out. We went to this kind of small ball 5-out lineup because Jokic, our giant behemoth center, is running point with 4 shooters around him. We get the one play where he like runs off the screen off of Murray, spins around and throws it cross court to MBJ for the three. It's like, what are you supposed to do about that? I don't know how you defend that. So back to the prop here, because I feel like we didn't think they were going to do the Aaron Gordon thing. Now that you've done it and they won, they adjusted, they won. The Lakers adjusted, they still lost. Now that you've done it, you've broken the glass in case of emergency, right? So you have to go back to this at some point now. There's no reason not to. Aaron Gordon's feelings have already been hurt. They don't get hurt too much when you're up 3-0. So this is an Aaron Gordon rebounding under, Porter Jr. rebounding over. Gordon's rebounds only 3, 4, and 3 for the series. So he's under this all series long anyway. He only had 4 rebounding chances in game 3, less minutes, and he's playing further from the hoop. That number's still high because he was rebounding really well in past series. So I like that under. Michael Porter Jr. over. We hit that one already this series. Got lucky that game, but we'll take it. He has 10, 7, and 10 rebounds for the series. Elite rebounder. He had 18 chances last game. So I like putting those together because I think that they're correlated. Gordon playing a little bit less and playing less in a rebounding spot. Porter on the over. So under 5.5 for Gordon, over 6.5 for Porter. It's plus 190. And then I do have an escalator. I'm basically going one more rebound in both directions. So Gordon under 4.5, Porter over 7.5. That gets me to plus 425. These guys have actually hit that in 2 of the 3 games and came 1 rebound away in the 3rd game. So I like this play. I feel like it's relatively game script proof. That was a lot of rebounding and et cetera. But do we agree that the Gordon thing happens again in game 4? It's in play, at least, if they need it.
I like your MPJ side. I don't know about Gordon. So a couple things here. One, AG's actually played really well in the minutes where he's had to be the 5 versus the small ball second unit. One of the reasons why the Lakers have struggled in this series is they can't make the runs that the Suns did versus the Aaron Gordon small ball unit minutes. Like Jock Landale was killing them in those minutes off the bench, just rim running. They don't have that guy, right? It's like LeBron is essentially like center forward in those backup minutes. Mo Bamba is supposed to be available for this game. Maybe Mo Bamba is the difference maker in this game, and that would help honestly with Gordon because it means fewer minutes for there. A lot of this I think does matter. You need to factor in one, pace, and you need to factor in two, what you think the game script looks like from a uh if the Lakers are missing a bunch of shots, we've got a higher percentage chance of Gordon snatching rebounds. If the Lakers are making a ton of them, MPJ is going to have fewer opportunities to grab rebounds. So we have like you're dancing a little bit with the variance outcome here on those. I don't think this is going to be a situation where it's like MPJ, like they're not going to bench Aaron Gordon. Like Gordon's going to start, Gordon's going to play 30 minutes.
For sure.
They may go to the same thing down the stretch because like one thing I do want to note here, as a big Aaron Gordon guy, just from having covered him for 2 years, God, 3 years, 3.5 years now. Oh my God, I'm getting old. That 5-1 pick and roll, that's what killed him. Is it was like, and honestly, it's amazing. Like Malone talked about how Joker drew it up in the like. Joker, I've always said, is not a player that like strategically goes in and has a game. Like it's not how he plays. He just like he reacts to every game individually. He just naturally makes these moves. I've always said this. He's a bird. He just acts instinctively. Like there is a mass network of connections between all birds, and like he just operates on those wavelengths. Okay. The point I'm trying to get to is there are ways for that lineup to like you can do what they did with the 5-1 versus Rui and just destroy them in those minutes and still have Gordon on the floor, because Gordon doesn't have to hit threes if they are so freaked out by the 5-1 they overload. If you go back and watch, as I've watched that second half now 4 times in the last day, the backside was open for cuts. So if Gordon's in there, Gordon's getting lobs for jams, because the Lakers at one point were just like panicked, running dudes over to the strong side, trying to figure out what to do with this. Because honestly, a lot of this is honestly a little bit like the Warriors, where if you're able to beat Draymond Green one-on-one, the Warriors defense doesn't know what to do. He's the guy that like he stops your point of attack, and he's like he is the impenetrable wall around the fortress. All of the other defense systems are built around that wall. And Davis is the same way. And when Joker is absolutely annihilating him and Jamal is just shooting over him, there's not much that you can like. That Lakers defense starts to rattle and shake and break down. So there's a way in which Gordon plays in this game. Now, can this 100%? Because like you said, it's already happened in games where Gordon played the full allotment of minutes. He's having to spend so much energy on LeBron. There's not much like what's he supposed to do? And in a lot of these minutes, it's like he's having to rebound on random jump shots that are going like various places, or he's having to battle AD. So like there's just not good situations for him to be able to do this. And again, to your point, if they do what the move that they need to make, if they can't do this, it's just like, what are we doing here, guys? If they do what they should do, it's Austin Reeves, Dennis Schroeder, Rui Hachimura, LeBron James, AD. Yeah. And that Rui's been awesome on offensive rebounds in this series. So that's another guy that's able to sky over. AG is tired. Aaron Gordon had to guard Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns, who you're like, well, those guys aren't great. They're bigger than Aaron. They're way bigger than Aaron. Then he had to guard KD for 6 games. Then he's had to guard LeBron James for 3 games. Aaron Gordon needs to sit down and just take a rest for a while. And so I think that's some of his rebounding energy. There's ways you lose this, but overall, like there's a game script where this cashes.
Yeah, and again, not going crazy on these. So when you see me break out like the plus juice day, which I guess this is a light version of, part of that is because I didn't love a lot of the regular lines. So don't go crazy on unit size here. Assists is a little bit easier. D'Angelo Russell is not long on the series, and maybe for the Lakers, I don't really know anymore. There's still a few books that are hanging in under 4.5 assists out there. You're drinking a lot of juice to it, but boy, I like that one. He only had 3 potential assists last game, and he happened to convert, I believe, 4 of them somehow. So again, the tracking numbers are not always exactly right there, but I just think there's a real chance, like you said, he is not clearly in their best 5. So I think there's a chance he comes off the bench. I think there's a chance he starts, but is bad, plays like 5 minutes, and then just is done, and that's it. Because it's game 4. Like this is the season. You got to do what you got to do at this point. So I like the under there. The only fear a little bit is what if he just doesn't play at all? Do you think there's any chance D'Angelo Russell literally plays 0 minutes in this game? Do I like lose the bet because, well, I mean, you get it back, but is there any chance he plays nothing?
I think there's a better chance he plays like 31 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm serious. Like, you need to consider. So, peek inside the curtain. Here's the deal.
Right.
Before game one, Ramona Shelburne reported that, or after game one, Ramona Shelburne reported that the Lakers would find it difficult, or there could be met with difficulty if they were to bench D'Angelo Russell. The way that translates is like that's agent talk for you better not bench my guy when he's in a contract year. Okay. The Lakers can't afford to lose him. If Russell gets mad at them and just walks, they don't have the means to replace his production. They're just out. Like they're already cap strapped. This is what happens when you pay Anthony Davis and LeBron James as much as they do. And that's a good thing to do. But like they don't have an option, right? They had to convert the they converted KCP and Kuzma into Russ. And then they converted Russ into D'Lo, Vando, and whoever, and Malik, right? They have to retain D'Lo. So they can't afford to lose him. So like they're in a real bind here where it's like, you need to bench him. He's killing you. And like you would be better off, but you wouldn't be better off next season because you would just be without him and may have no way to upgrade the point guard spot without pulling a complete rabbit out of a hat. So there's a chance here that you lose on this because D'Lo just plays enough to rack up enough random transition assists to screw you.
I think it's possible. He has 3, 5, and 4 assists. So even when he's been playing regular minutes, he's still gone over only once by a half an assist. So I like the under. And then I'm going to pair that with a LeBron over assist. I'll take the 10 line. So LeBron, before the last game against the Warriors, his playoff high this year had been 8 assists. So it's a little bit like Aaron Gordon, where past production is inflating the line, or in this case, deflating the line, because he hadn't been getting as many assists. But since then, he had 9 that game. He had 9 game 1, 10 game 2, 12 game 3. And his potential assists match that. He's gone 15, 17, 22 potential assists in game 3. I think that has to do a little bit with LeBron just can't quite attack the basket as much as we were used to seeing him. He just doesn't have that in his body right now at this stage to do it. And it's a little bit easier to win the game mentally and break the defense down. And I think too, LeBron, if he is going to try and go for this thing, has to know that you're not going to do that. Like old 2007, 2012, whatever year LeBron, it's not in there right now. He's not going to be able to just go win 4 games. It's going to have to be because he got D'Lo and Lonnie and Rui and all these guys hitting shots and playing a lot. It's the only chance they have. So I think he tries to get him going, gets the assists. I'm playing the trend. His assists are going up, up, up. So less D'Lo handling, less D'Lo assists should mean a little bit more time with LeBron having the ball in his hands. Again, put them together. LeBron 10 assists, D'Lo under 4.5 plus 285.
Here's your historical line, just for perspective. Okay, in game elimination games where he's been eliminated. Okay, so opponent was at 3, he lost the game. Here's his assist tracker since 2011. It is 6, 5, 9, 8, 8, 7. He has not hit double digits in an elimination loss since at least 2011. So
it's not great.
Well, I mean, maybe here's the answer though, right? Is like, does playing D'Lo help them win? Yes. Does LeBron having more assists mean they're shooting better? Yes. I ask you, why not throw in the money line on the Lakers to that?
Yeah, that's as you were kind of getting there. That's what I was thinking. I was like, I think if you're going to do that one, you probably have to throw Lakers win in there. I don't know if LeBron gets to 10 dimes without. I mean, a Lakers win or maybe a close Denver win, but we already talked about why we don't think that's super likely. So I think that might be smart to throw that in. Yeah, I had LeBron's record, if I have this right, in elimination games, just overall for his career, he's 14-11. Averages are 33.5 points, just under 11 boards, 7.5 assists. So yeah, in elimination games, traditionally, we get the aggressive attacking scoring LeBron. And that was where I first looked. That's just not the version we've had in this series. But I think you're right. I don't blame you if you want to add the money line in. I've sworn off betting anything on a side in this game, but I think that's another way to juice it a little bit. And you're probably going to end up getting, I'm going to guess, like in the 500 range there. So
don't add Nuggets into the other one. There's a bunch of ways the Nuggets win.
Yeah, no, not correlated on that one.
Yeah, but this one I think feels like probably there's a now like look, there's a way that the Lakers win this game with D'Lo having
certainly
7 right. But like again,
but if you're already doing the LeBron 10 assist thing, then I think you're right to probably look at the Lakers too.
Yeah, throw them in. Okay. So Brandon's got Gordon under 5.5 rebounds, Porter over 6.5. He's got LeBron over 9.5 assists, D'Lo under 4.5 assists, and he's got escalators on Gordon and Porter rebounds as well. I'm gonna stick with Nuggets 11 plus, Lakers 11 plus.
Okay.
I am less bold than as you in seeking out the ROI.
And if you on mine, take a look at the Action Network best bets write up that we have every day. Lots of numbers in mine. Those bets are both in there, so you can kind of see how to play that and where to get the numbers.
I want to talk about what we've learned from the weekend and go over some bets, and because it does correlate into how we're going to go forward. We stumbled into Heat plus 2.5. Now, like, look, we thought the Heat would take 2 off of Boston no matter what, right? I thought it was very likely this goes 7. Like, I honestly, like, I gave serious thought to the plus 1.5, but I thought it would at least that Boston would have an elimination chance in Game 6. That's not going to be the case. No team has ever come back from down 3-0. We'll get into that question here in a minute. I think there is a fair question of one thing that's happening is, look, we create content here and we provide you with bets. If you want to bet, we're going to talk about it and we're going to give you bets to give out. And we've done real well. Playoffs have been good. I had a terrible first round. I've killed it the last 2 rounds. I feel very good about myself. I don't know what to do with this Heat team at this point. Like, Brandon, I don't know what to do. Like, I bet them in this game because I was like, after with the way that Boston responded, it was enough of a gut play to play Miami. Also, like, why was Miami a dog at home? Like, why was Miami? Like, I understand the power rating. I know why they were a dog at home. I understand the power rating, but just like, I'm at this point, I'm just like, books, please protect yourselves. Like, what are you doing? And I'm sure it's because of the liability they are, but it's just like a rough scene seeing the Lakers or the Heat as dogs at home. They are favored now, by the way, in Game 4 -3. We'll talk about that tomorrow. I will ask you as bettors, should we have seen this coming from Miami? And it's that's not a like, shouldn't we? Like, I don't feel that we're responsible for every possible outcome. And I'm not making excuses because, like, to be perfectly honest with you, I grabbed Jimmy Butler and gave it out on this podcast. Like, I went on Green Dot Daily and gave out Jimmy Butler finals MVP when it was 40-1. That ticket looks nice right now. That's not a victory lap. That's that I'm trying to tell you, like, we bet a lot of stuff on here. And I do try and cover the best opportunity across all variables. And there was definitely, like, there was never a New York Knicks anything for the Eastern Conference or Finals ever. Okay, so like, didn't go there. I ask you though, like, should we have seen, and did we miss a window that we should have? Like, that's the bigger question. Did we miss a betting opportunity that we should have found earlier with Miami?
So I think the question is 2 parts. Was it likely that this was going to happen with Miami? No, it was not likely. No Miami Heat fans thought this was likely. No Miami fans expected us to be here. You've asked them on Twitter. We've got several at our workspace, in our Slacks. We've asked. None of the Heat fans thought this was going to happen. They thought it could. They thought their team was good enough to hang around. That's the Heat. We knew who the Heat were. We knew that Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo plus Spoelstra, we knew that they would be a tough out, right? Like, initially, when they lost the play-in, the first game, we said, oh, Boston dodged a bullet. That was my takeaway from that play-in, was Boston dodged a bullet, but not because Boston was going to lose, but because, man, Miami would push them at least to 6. And you never know. You never know if Miami shows up and pushes you, what can happen when shot variance kicks in. Well, guess what? Shot variance kicked in a big way tonight. 55% on threes. You're going to lose that game pretty much always, especially when Boston has gone under 35% all 3 games on 3-pointers. Like, we did the stat all year, how they're 40-1 on 40% or more. They were 16-16 when they were under 35%. They're 0-5 in the playoffs. Boston is in that, and that is all 3 against Miami. I don't know what that is. Is that because Miami's voodoo defense has forced them to miss all the threes, I'll give them some credit, but we know historically, we know statistically, 3-point is variance. Boston is missing shots, and we know that when Boston misses shots, it all goes bad. The defense gets sad and doesn't lock in, and it all goes very badly. And I don't know how we're supposed to project that that was what was going to happen. I don't think that there was any responsibility we would have had to expect that this was likely. That said, I think as bettors, once we're adding in odds that things can happen and lines that we can bet and prices, we should have considered them. And we did. You have a Jimmy Butler finals ticket. I have a Heat to lose to Denver, 16-1 ticket. Joe Delera gave out a Heat ticket at 20-1, I believe. Jim Turvey came on and gave out a Heat ticket. Both of those guys, when they gave out that ticket, I made fun of on text. I was like, come on, the Heat aren't going to win, because it was the first question. It's back to the whole thing. Look, you get on my case a lot, rightfully so, because I bet these like crazy 40-1 underdogs where I'm like, but it shouldn't be that. It should be 25-1. And your case, which is correct, is yeah, but you're going to lose. Congrats on your 25-1. That's actually 40-1. It's still going to lose because that's how it goes. That still means you're going to lose. The Heat, we're still going to lose. All our tickets that we get to happily cash potentially now, all should have lost. But they should have lost not as much as the book said it was.
Yeah.
And that's the key as bettors, because if you do that enough, if you find those margins enough and play them, and that's what we do on Buckets and at Action Network, is try to find those margins and tell you to play them, then you're going to win in the end. Not every time, but enough time. So I think that's what happened here. Is I don't think we failed anyone by missing out on the Heat. I think they were a long shot, but never as long as the books priced them to be. And I think that's our job, is to just keep finding that. And I guess my failure is I recognize that wholeheartedly. I played under this series Heat plus 2.5, Heat plus 1.5, Heat minus 1.5. And then what did I do? I bet the Celtics in game 2. And then I bet them again in game 3. That's on me. That's my failure. The numbers were bad all the time. I should have just stuck with the read.
Well, I got two things here. One, I've got a 14-1 ticket alongside from May 1st. And the reason I took it was I was like, here was the thinking, like I looked into it. I will just say this is a luck thing. Everyone knows I've got a million finals connections, right? And like I'm gonna wind up on the really in the positive because of how much I bet Denver back in like January when I was like, this team's legit, before I got terrified by their late season run. The reason I had it is I was like, well, look, it was May 1st, and I was like, I think the Nuggets are going to beat the Suns. I think they're a better team. The Heat are definitely going to beat the Knicks. They're going to beat the Knicks, and that means that the Heat basically have a cakewalk to the conference finals, and it could be the Sixers. That was literally my thought process. I was like, well, look, if Embiid actually does it, and I was like, I'm going to want Miami if it's versus the Sixers, because it's the Sixers. It's Doc and it's Joel and it's Harden. And so that was my thought process.
Yeah, that was mine too. I did the exact same thing.
The other thing here I think is interesting. Did you bet Miami with us in game 1?
Oh yeah, very much.
So off of the Raw trend, the Raheem Palmer trend about teams that are in the off a 7-game series, and Raw, I've commented on it tonight. We're now looking at teams that come off of a game 7 series. We are now looking at those teams in the next series going 36-50. And that's like, it's crazy that Raw found this, and it is really impressive. But here's the other thing that we really should have considered. Okay, they start off in a 1-0 hole. If the Celtics win game 5, if they just don't implode and wet the bed versus the Sixers in round 2, and they win that series in 6, they probably win game 1, and this is maybe 1-2, and it's like, okay, the Heat are definitely here, and they're in this, but Miami's just going to come back around and win game 4. But because they lost that one, it sent them into a spiral. Like that entire sequence of not being able to get up for that game 1 in the second round, coming off of the 7-game series, the emotional letdown, they didn't recover. It's really wild. And it's something to consider about. We think that everything starts back at 0.
Yeah, doesn't.
And we need to not do that. We need to consider the impact of the previous series on the following series.
Yeah. I'll take it a step further. I think Boston, I think that I think things went sideways for Boston against Atlanta when they should have just swept Atlanta right off the planet and gotten that job done easily. Or at the very least, you give them one. Give them the old Matt Moore gentleman's sweep trademark and give them one game and get out. But they gave them two. And what happened when they gave them two? It meant that that huge rest advantage they were supposed to have against the injured Joel Embiid disappeared. And it meant that suddenly Philly stole game one. They stole it. James Harden got the step back and they stole it. And suddenly Joel came back in game two. And that gave Philly some life. And that pushed the series longer. And it ended up not costing Boston, quote unquote, because they survived. But yeah, it's the attrition game. And we saw that there were a bunch of Warriors years that way too, where they kind of screwed around early in the first round. And like, I think that's why they lost the 2016 title. Not just that, you know, they had the long season, but I forget who, but somebody in the early rounds, they gave away a game or two. And suddenly it's like, oh, shoot, we're down 3-1 to OKC because we're tired and we gave an early one away. Oh, it's fine. We beat OKC. We're fine. We're in the finals now. Not fine, because suddenly Bogut got hurt and suddenly like it all adds up and it's all a 2-month thing that you're doing. I think it's absolutely a thing we have to remember.
All right, Brandon, if I told you.
You're making me do this.
I'm making you do this. Like, I may literally do this. Like, I may literally do this based off of what you say. Like, I'm willing to do it. We'll go with a unit. You got to play a unit. Just a unit on either the Boston Celtics or the Los Angeles Lakers to win the NBA Finals. The Boston Celtics now are plus 1,200, which, by the way, continues to be an insane amount of credit that they are still receiving. Like, the books are handcuffed to their power rating and liability on Boston. Like, they are desperately trying to get away, and they just can't do it. They are handcuffed to their prior ratings on them. Or 1,200 or 3,200 for the Los Angeles Lakers. Which one of those do you want to bet with a full unit?
All right. Actually, it's an easy choice for me here. I think the Lakers are drawing dead. I think the Lakers are done. And I think that the number for the Lakers theoretically probably has more value to it because this Boston number is horrendous. What are we doing? How can we still not adjust the Boston number? But I just explained the thing before about 40-1, but it's actually 25-1, and you play enough of them. I don't know what the Lakers' chances are, but it's too close to zero for me. We're playing not just to win the series, but win the finals. I got to win. The Lakers got to win 8 games still to get to either one of these teams got to win 8 games still. I don't think that the Boston number is worth playing at all. The number you have them at is 1,200 to win the finals. I would put them longer than that to win this series against Miami. Like, literally, that's the number. I have it at plus 1,325. That's my fair price to make the finals. Now they got to win it. So I'm not telling you to bet it. You should not bet it. Don't bet it. However, you're making me. Look, Boston looks like they hate each other and never want to play basketball again. Jaylen Brown's already like shopping Zillow for future homes. It all looks terrible. Joe Mazzulla probably could have gotten fired at halftime. However, Boston, everything changes when the threes start to fall. And Boston is shooting like 30% for the series. In Miami, we've seen have leads and completely go ice cold. That's the other thing that Miami can do. Boston literally is the one team in one city in professional sports history in America that has come back from down 3-0. That was the Red Sox. Don't think that that's not nothing if this starts to go. Like, the script for Boston is, oh, they look terrible. They're just not handling it. And then they made like 3 or 4 threes in a row. They hung around. They get this ugly, nasty, somehow they pull it out in Miami. They come back game 5, barrage of threes, blow the Heat out of the water. Suddenly it's 3-2. Miami's basically facing elimination game because if it gets back to 7 in Boston, you don't want any part of that. And then you never know what can happen. Boston makes their threes. Everything is open. And if suddenly you flip that one, then I think anything is still in play. They're a good team. They just are falling apart right now. But one win, one stretch can change that. Don't bet it. Do not bet it. The number is bad. If you must bet it, Matt Moore, you should bet on Boston. They're a team capable of winning a championship if things start to go their way.
I kind of lean towards Lakers. And the reason I lean towards Lakers is I don't see Jimmy letting them get out of the building. Like they're in Miami. And also like the post-game quotes are it is catastrophic.
Oh, it's terrible.
Like there's a quote from Gary Washburn that's like Jaylen Brown is having to carefully think his words. There's clearly locker room issues. Joe Mazzulla is literally like taking all the blame in all of the world, being like, I didn't have them prepared. Al Horford's like, it's on me as a player. Like it is catastrophic. Okay. The Lakers, on the other hand, I think are like, they still have to be like, look, we could have won games 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Like they got us in game 3, great fourth quarter, tips the cap. All we got to do, like, and here's the thing. If they can win game 4 and they get it back to Denver, like there's an ounce of pressure, right? Miami, I don't think feels like they don't feel anything. They're dead inside because they're zombies. Like they're lizard people, right? I have zero worries about Miami going into game 5 and just like snatching their soul in Boston again. Versus like, yeah, with Denver, like, okay, things start to tighten up. Jeff Green's not hitting threes. Bruce Brown's not hitting threes. Things get to like Jamal Murray starts to struggle a little bit. He's known to do that. He vanished for 3 games of the Phoenix series. If Joker's not doing anything and Jamal's not scoring 30 a night, what does that look like, right? So, like, if you were going to bet it, I'm on the other side. Both of us don't think that you should bet either one. I will, however, I will bet a unit on the Celtics, and we will hold that ticket. And I will graciously give you 10% of any of the winnings should it cash.
I'll just say this. Look, I'm wearing my Man City sweatshirt today. I got my Man City all around me. Man City is the behemoth now, I realize. But Man City before all this was the team that always choked at the end. They're the team that could never quite get there. And then they had a game where at 93 minutes, 20 seconds, they came through with the goal on literally the last kick of the season to win the first title. As a sports fan, it is always darkest just before the dawn. I think everything you just said about the Lakers is right. They are the better team with a better chance right now, the way they're playing. The Celtics are shambolic right now. I actually prefer that. I prefer, like, they have already hit the down point of their season. It's the end of the team. It's the end of the franchise as they know it. And I don't know how they pull off game 4. I don't think that they do. But if they somehow accidentally do it because, like, Marcus Smart hits 7 of 9 threes because Marcus is going to come out firing away. If they somehow do it, that's the team that has the talent to be like, well, you know what? I guess if we're here, let's just try to do this thing. So that's the reason.
Okay, we'll see what happens. David Griffin wrote the email on the plane back before game 5 of the 2016 series. And that was like that it was a famous email that really galvanized the team. There's nobody like that for the Lakers. It's going to have to be Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens is going to have to write the email of his life in order to get the Celtics back on track. But look, this has been the going thing on both Celtics and Lakers Twitter, and it's true. Eventually, somebody's going to come back from 3-0. We've seen it in NHL. We've seen it in MLB. Someone eventually is going to come back from 3-0. And if you're a Lakers fan or a Celtics fan, why not now? If you're a bettor, why not now? Because it is statistically extremely unlikely. That's going to do it for buckets. We will get into all coverage of the NBA Finals, scenarios, early matchups, all that stuff. As soon as one of these two teams clinch, if they clinch, we will start talking about the scenarios for the NBA Finals. If both of these teams sweep, we are going to have a lot of time before game 1. And don't worry, I will find ways to podcast about it to give you every single possible angle. And we will have you covered. We will be the most prepared we've ever been to bet the NBA Finals. If we can get that time period off. Otherwise, tomorrow we'll have picks for game 4, Celtics versus Heat. And then the following day, we'll either start prep on the NBA Finals or we won't. And we'll see how it goes. You can follow Brandon on Twitter at Wheaton Brando and in the Action Network app. You can follow me on Twitter at HB Basketball and in the Action Network app. Have yourselves a great Monday. My thanks to David Payne for staying up producing this episode. We'll see you guys again next time. Till then, let's get buckets.